In this video, I'm going to show you one of our newer features. It's called the Receiving Logs. With the July 2011 production release, we have added the ability to print a log for the following screens: Receive Purchase Order, Receive Transfer Order, Receive Stock Without PO, Receive by Supplier, and Returns to Supplier RMA. For each of these screens, once the user is done with entering all receipts or returns, they will simply click the Print Log button at the bottom of the page to fire off the receiving log report. So once I save and receive my last item by clicking on Save, and this is from my packing slip that I need a separate log for, I'm going to click on the Print Log button at the bottom. That report has been queued and it will be on the report history. So if you want to view it, you can click on Report History and that will bring you to that report, unless you have another packing slip that you need to receive product from. I pulled my receiving log directly from my report history and this is what it looks like. From here I can print it out or do what I want with it. Each time you go into one of these screens, Rix Enterprise will begin to track a new log of receipts or returns. For example, if you receive some items against a purchase order using the Receive Purchase Order screen, you leave the Receive Purchase Order screen. Then come back to finish receiving your PO. Rix Enterprise will track this as two separate logs of receipt transactions. Since the first receipt I didn't click on Print Log. I saved it and then I exited out of that screen and came back, and now I'm going to receive from that same PO, and that will track it as two separate logs of receipt transactions. Also note, a new log is created if you receive some items against a purchase order on the Receive Purchase Order screen and then refresh the browser. The system will see this as a new visit to the screen and begin to track a new receiving log. When the user clicks on the Print Log button, the system will start a new log if the user continues to enter receipts or returns on the same screen. Receiving logs will span across multiple purchase orders or transfer orders if the user does not print the log between purchase order receipts. The next section is talking about scanned items not received. With creating a receiving log upon coming to a screen, it becomes a challenge with handling scanned items that were previously scanned but not received or saved. If a user enters a receiving screen with scanned items that have not been received, the screen will now prompt the user immediately to receive those items before proceeding. Also, if a user clicks the Print Log button with scanned items not received, the screen will prompt the user to save before printing the log. In addition, if a user attempts to print a log from the Print Receiving Log screen for a receiving log that has scanned items not committed, it will not allow the user to print the log. Now I'm going to talk about how to print a receiving log screen. This is when you want to reprint a log using the Print Receiving Log screen. If the user forgets to print out a log, there is the Print Receiving Log screen, which allows you to search for, retrieve, and print past receiving logs. So you just go to Reporting or Inventory, and you go to Inventory Purchase Orders and Print Receiving Logs. So you'll go to the Reporting tab, Inventory Purchase Orders, and Print Receiving Logs. For example, if you have a purchase order and you received it in full but left the Receive Purchase Order screen before clicking the Print Log button, you can simply go reprint the receiving log using the Print Receiving Log screen. And that's the screen that I'm currently on right now. So you would navigate to the store owner level or store in which you did the receipt for. And we came to Reporting and inventory and purchase orders, and then print receiving logs. So you could either go to the username and enter your username and log in and click on the search button. A list of all the receipts for that purchase order you specified should be listed. I just went to the purchase order and pulled up the PO, and it lists all the receipts I did for the PO. So you can just check the box or boxes next to which log you'd like to print, and then click on the Print Selected Logs button at the bottom. Next, I'm going to talk about how to print a consolidated report of receiving logs. This screen also allows you to print a consolidated receiving log across multiple receiving logs. In the scenario detailed earlier, where the user receives against the purchase order, then leaves the Receive Purchase Order screen, then comes back to finish receiving the purchase order, Rix Enterprise would create two separate receiving logs. So what you can do is you can fill in the purchase order number here and click on Search. Now you can check the check boxes next to the items in the list which you would like to print out the consolidated report. So I'm going to go ahead and check both of those and click on Print Selected Logs. This will bring you to the report history, and then we can go ahead and select that log, and you'll see that it consolidated it. You'll still have two separate totals, so it won't combine the totals into one, but it will consolidate it into one file on the report history. So on page 1 it has the first receipt that I did from that purchase order, and on page 2 it has the second receipt that I did from that purchase order. If you are interested in turning on the receiving logs or turning them off, it's fairly easy to do. You can click on Setup, Manage Store, and Setup Settings. Before you do that, you want to make sure that you navigate to the store owner or store in which you would like to enable or disable at the top right hand corner. Look up your store and select it using the quick lookup. You're going to click on the Configurations tab, and now under the Inventory Options grouping there's a configuration called Use Receiving Logs. So if you go to the very bottom of that section, you'll now see Use Receiving Log, and you will change that. If you have it disabled, it'll be on No, so you'll change that to Yes. If you want to disable it, if you had it turned on and want to turn it off, you can just change that to No. So I'm going to change that to Yes and save it, and that will enable it. Or if I change it to No and save it, that will disable that. So this new function will be used if you are a store owner that needs a log printed out for when you receive purchase orders, you receive transfer orders, you receive stock without purchase order, you receive by supplier, or you return to the supplier. If you need a log, you will use this function. There is also a help document out on your Rix Enterprise, so if you go into the help, and whether you're looking at receive purchase orders or receive stock without PO or returns to supplier, you'll now see a new step-by-step procedure called Receiving Logs that you can read up on and print out if you want a copy of it. Let us know in support if you have any questions at all as you are using this new feature. Thank you.